Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Crossing the Line. This is a bit of a emergency broadcast. We've had some pretty bad things done to us by the police, but local Brisbane law enforcement, if you're unaware where Brisbane is, it is the capital city of Queensland in Australia. And it turns out the constabulary there are a bunch of commie pigs. Now, Billboard Chris from the I was gonna say beautiful country of Canada, but there's too many French people, and they're the worst kind of French people there, the French Canadian. But Billboard Chris, he is this gentleman here. He's quite I'm going to say vanilla. Honestly, like, he is a very well-spoken, very polite, very nice man who just so happens to state his political beliefs on a billboard and go into a public space where he is generally talked to by the public, accosted a lot of the times, harassed, assaulted several times, and he does nothing but stand there politely and talk to people who want to talk to him wearing these signs, as you can see here. And in Brisbane today, in Queen Street Mall, which is quite a hub of people walking around, as you can see here, not to mention the police are wearing shorts, the push bike police, and this fat sack of shit. I think we've been recording long enough to say that, but harassing the poor man for simply stating this on his billboard. Children cannot consent to puberty blockers. Now, I don't know a single person, or at least I hope I don't, but I am a blue-collar Australian who doesn't live in a major city. I don't know a single person that would not agree with that statement. But obviously, as you can see in this video, when we get into it, there are several people, including this large, rotund man that seems to have nothing better to do than harass good people. They just don't seem to like it when you point out obvious things like that which might be controversial, which might upset someone. But as far as I'm aware, it wasn't illegal in Australia to upset people. But we could be very well goose-stepping our way towards our communistic state and our communistic friends like they have in the UK. And our freedom of speech is null and void. It never existed really anyway in any sort of written down format besides the piece of paper that is used as lavatory paper that we call our Constitutional Bill of Rights, whatever you want to call it here in Australia. It's null and void. No one really cares. And these goose-stepping lesbians in police uniform are making that very, very clear. And the local Brisbane Council, who has their, what would you call it, enforcement agent there, these are the kind of people that go around and leave tickets on your car for parking in the wrong spot. You know, the scum of the earth, this rather large man with back boobs, what do they call back boobs nowadays? I don't know. But he seems to have taken a disgust or a dislike to Chris here for simply standing there and being very polite, honestly. Like, if you see anything that Chris puts out, he is one of the most polite people. I mean, if this was me in a public square doing this and I had someone come up and harass me, not so much like the police, but you'll see here, this individual over there in the... This individual over here, he comes back into frame in a second and harasses Chris. I wouldn't be standing there politely talking to them. I would just... This one here. There, the one with the mullet, the unfuckable cunt who's wearing an orange shirt that, hasn't had a bath in a week and lives in his mum's base but never had a job and likes to huff paint. Here we go.
You should get a fucking job and, move on with your life, Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
I have not.
I mean, you can see there that if that was me, I'd be throwing hands. Like, I don't know, it's not the smartest thing to do. It's not the most intelligent thing I could be doing. But honestly, if that furry child came up to me and started talking shit, I'd be escalating the situation. But Chris here has cooler heads prevail with Chris. He is an outstanding member of the public, whichever country he's in. And he does nothing to antagonize anyone. He is very polite. He's more polite than this diabetic human being. And definitely more polite than this bulldog here. But it just goes to show how bad Australia has gotten for freedom of speech. He's standing there quietly, very politely, filming in a public space, which is legal here in Australia. Doesn't matter where you are, as long as you have no, expected privacy, you're allowed to film there. And Queen Street Mall being a public place as well, and they do have a lot of these things happen in Queen Street Mall. They have buskers, they have, Bible bashers. They had protests, pro-Palestine protests. I'll show you a video of that later. They had pretty disruptive ones. I think it was Black Friday or something sales, and pretty much shut down the entire area for pro-Palestine. But this large candy-infused man decided that that wasn't good enough for his time. But poor Chris here is. Now, Chris is actually suing the Australian government, is suing, I believe it's the head czar of misinformation and disinformation, the head cunt, if you will. I forget her name because I try not to remember these useless cretins, but he is suing the Australian government for attacking him. I think it was on a trans issue. There was a trans woman or a man, or I don't know, what do you call them these days? Who knows? Some pansexual deviant that took a dislike to Chris and what he said and tried to sue Chris, and they tried to put in a complaint against him. Then, back and forth. We'll get into that later. But Chris being such a polite man and not breaking any laws here, this large rotund individual who is probably having pins and needles in his left arm and probably heart palpitations right now, has more back fat than a walrus. But I won't attack the man for his physique, seeming I'm such a bigger person myself. But going to gym and eating a lot of protein does that to a person. But the disrespect that the Australian Police Force, the Queensland Police Force here, but the Australian Police Force as a whole has on the Australian public, just making up laws as they deem fit, pretending that he's broken some sort of minor law or local law here, which he has not. As far as I could tell from the Brisbane City Council and Queen Street Mall, he hasn't broken any laws that I can see. That it's like this guy has just come up with some sort of bullshit argument to get rid of him. I mean, all they wanted to do was move him down the road to somewhere where he's less public. So, trying to curtail his freedom of speech. And I don't really give a shit at this point. Like, if they're gonna let people, like I tweeted today, gay pride parades parade through these places with their junk out, thrusting, twerking, you name it, pissing on people for kink pleasure. I don't know what you want to call it. If they're going to let them do that in public, how is a straight edge, very polite white male, let's call him that, because that's generally what's picked him out here, standing there politely stating something like this, children cannot consent to puberty blockers, which is, I don't even think it's it's not rhetorical, that's fact. I mean, children cannot consent to puberty blockers. I don't know how more obvious that needs to be for some people, but obviously it does. And that seems to be infecting people here in Australia, even in Queensland, where we're a few chromosomes short compared to the Melburnian people or Victorians. But that's a good thing here. And I don't see how this is upsetting anyone. The police force, if someone had a complaint, if I went up and complained about them and said, oh, this person is harassing me, blah, 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 they go up and have a look and go, look, this dude isn't harassing you. He's doing what he's allowed to do. Have a good day, sir. That's generally what the police should do, and that's what they have done in other instances where I've had death threats and things like that from people online. You call the police and warn them about it, and they just go, oh, well, we don't really care, honestly. They don't. They don't care. Unless it deems, to be creating a security risk for some certain individuals, including the insane leftists and insane, Palestinian supporters, or the screaming masses of LGBTQ2 plus star gender, whatever the fuck they got going on at the moment. They don't care if you're a straight white male, or a right wing conservative or anything like that, or honestly, Chris is not right wing. He is middle of the road on a lot of subjects. You should go and follow him on Twitter, at least, guys. Follow him on YouTube and all other platforms that you can. He is a very good follow, and it does spark some very good, meaningful conversations. But it just goes to show that everything here in Australia is leaning one way. I mean, if he was a Palestinian activist saying, I don't know, Palestinians cannot consent to Israelis bombing the fuck out of their children, I mean, he wouldn't be moved on. He wouldn't be questioned. He wouldn't be harassed. You might have some, I don't know what the Jewish population is in Brisbane. I doubt it's very high at all, but you might have some people harass him about, political beliefs. We're so far removed from Israel, Palestine here in Australia. I don't see why we even need to be talking about it. But Billboard Chris here is promoting something that he, seems as a moral right, and he's not wrong. Puberty blockers are not good for kids. I mean, we don't even need to get into that conversation here right now. What we do need to get into the conversation is how the Australian public, the Australian everyday person, has completely handed over the reins to the government. It's handed over the reins to the police department. It's handed over the reins for everything, whether it's their health, their well-being, their security, their everything. We had a small cyclone hit my area, which if you're in America, it's called a hurricane. If you're in Asia, it's called a typhoon. We had a small cyclone. We got a bit of wind damage, a bit of hail damage, and a slight bit of flooding damage. The flooding damage was generally, and most of the damage was generally put into a richer area. And 5 minutes before, well, honestly, it wasn't even after, it was before it, the entire population, especially the rich people, was screaming for government benefits. They had a window broken, or they lost a day's wage because they had to close their fucking vegan cafe latte patisserie or whatever the fuck they got going down there in the Gold Coast. And they had to close for a day because of the wind and the rain and the whatever. And they're screaming for government funds. The government has to pay them out because, I lost a day's wage because of the fucking weather. So, give me money. That was the, I didn't see anyone complaining about it. Like, honestly, there's people out west, especially northern New South Wales, that copped an absolute thrashing from a storm, and they were whinging less than the rich people in the middle of the Gold Coast, which is a very nice beachfront area here in Australia where a lot of money goes back and forth with tourism and things like that. It just seems that the Australians seem to hand over their rights and freedoms willy-nilly back and forth with the government. They really don't care. They will do anything for a free buck from the government, which I don't get why they don't understand that it's not free money. It's coming from us, the taxpayer. I mean, unless you're a dole bludging if you're not here in Australia. Dole is the what do you call it in the social welfare, I suppose, in the States or the UK. It's the welfare recipients. I mean, there's generational welfare recipients here in Australia. We have people that have been driving, VK Commodores for the last 30, 40 years, and they still think it's a great car. I mean, well, you probably don't even know what a VK Commodore is, and it's probably a detriment to you, honestly. They're a great car. But these welfare recipients here in Australia seem to, bleed out into the public that everyday workers, as soon as something goes awry, they want welfare, they want the government to come in. If there is something wrong in the world, they want the police to come in. They don't care if they have the police standing on their throat here in Australia. They will thank them and kiss the boot. And this is just another great aspect of it. You see these libtards or leftists just meandering around the streets, spending their money. Like this little chap over here in the orange, probably never had a job unless he works at, Dangerfield here in Australia. I doubt he has contributed to society in a very meaningful way. And he will continue to be like that. But no. He is the first person to call for the police, and he will be the first person to scream for the defunding of police when they put his arm behind their back and harass him. I mean, I guarantee you this long-haired retarded bloke wandering around in the background has a vape in his pocket. Now, there we go. Has a vape in his pocket. I mean, look at his boots. Fantastic representation of a moron here in Australia. He's probably never had a job. He is most likely a student, maybe a uni student. I don't know if he's smart enough to even go to university or college, whatever you want to call it here. But he's walking around on a government dime. I can guarantee you that. He's either living at home or he's living with someone who pegs him on a daily basis. But that aside, people like this will be screaming for Chris to be dragged off the street, kicking and screaming in chains, locked up and told to shut up, and will help the police out with that every second they get. But as soon as it turns around and it's put on them, they cry poor, they cry foul, they cry, oh, woe is me, I'm a minority, because I guarantee you he identifies as either LGBT or, I don't know, Aboriginal. I'd put money on him being Indigenous. Being Indigenous myself, I can spot another Indigenous person a mile away. We have a nose for a few things. We have a nose for welfare, and we have a nose for goon bags. If you know what a goon bag is, congratulations. If you don't, well, that's a secret for us. But I can guarantee you, if he was standing there protesting for pro-Palestine or some sort of leftist movement where it was LGBT related, he wouldn't have been accosted like this. If he was standing there, preaching the good word of Albanese, our Prime Minister, he wouldn't have been accosted by these people, especially Lord Farquaad here. But, I mean, he's got the build of Shrek. Whatever. Anyway, council workers are some of the worst people on earth and some of the best people. Honestly, I work with some really good guys. But you do find the outliers there, which are good guys. Like a few guys I work with at the moment are very switched on individuals, very nice individuals. They do work for a local council, and I quite like them. But you run into a lot of these kind of guys, and these kind of guys I like to call Micks. As general person, we'll call him Mick, because that's his actual fucking name, and he's a pile of garbage who thinks that everyone is below him just because he works on the council, even though he's a cowcocky from out west who doesn't know his fucking asshole from his hand. But we'll just leave it there about Mick. But these people like this, these Micks that work in council, they love to work in local laws and things like that, and absolutely screw screw over the everyday person. I mean, I've seen them destroy some member of the public's property and just go, fuck 'em, I work on the council. That's not my problem. The old saying from the council where I work at is, it looks good from my house. So when they fuck something up and destroy someone's property, they go, fucking looks good from my house. They don't care. A lot of these people don't care. I don't know whether it's a low IQ, the inbreeding, or the gastro problems that some of these individuals have, but they seem to all be, want to be police officers. I don't know. This dude, we need to find out who he is, and we also need to find out who this gentleman. Actually, I don't know. It's a gentleman. I don't want to, misgender the person, but we need to find out who these people are, and just find out where they work. Like, this guy definitely works for Brisbane City Council. This guy doesn't work for anyone. Maybe call Centrelink and see what his benefit scheme is. But we need to find out who they are and what they do with themselves in their private time, just so that, we can let them know that we aren't happy with the way they acted here. I don't know about you, but Chris here obviously gets a lot of threats of violence and gets harassed. He's been assaulted many times just for wearing, I believe, this actual billboard here, this sandwich board. And nothing ever happens with those people. It just seems to, it's leftist extremism, violence. It's like what's going on with the Tesla and the cars at the moment. No one just seems to really care until it's the other way around. Now, if Chris here had, said something mean to this individual, I'm sure the police would have accosted him about that, but he was very polite, very nice. But we'll watch a little bit of this. I know you've been listening to me ramble on for the last however long, but, Chris here is a very polite man, and you can see this in this short video.
Okay.
Relevant legislation in which I've issued the ticket. Obstructing or unreasonably disturb any person lawfully using a mall.
Okay, so I've been told that my prohibited activity is that I'm obstructing or unreasonably disturbing any person lawfully using a mall. I have absolutely done no such thing. I was standing quietly.
You should get a fucking job and, move on with your life,
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Example of
I have
that
not
obstruct
done this.
users of the mall. This is because you're in this area.
So this guy that just came up to harass me, he's using that as an example of me obstructing people.
The next step from here is that we can issue an oral compliance direction, which under our local laws means that you have to cease the activity and possibly move on from the area. All right?
I'm not obstructing or unreasonably disturbing anyone.
All right. So once I move on with the oral compliance direction, this is what it looks like. All right. I'm going to step through it because it's the first time for me as well.
First time?
Yeah.
Really?
I'm very new.
No one's ever had a sign on this public street before, I guess.
They have actually, but...
And how come you didn't interrupt them? How
Most
come you
people
didn't?
go this one.
Oh, really? Yeah. So, did we witness that just now, officer? That man came up to me to harass me. He's citing that as an example of me obstructing someone. Did that look like obstruction to you when that man came up to harass me?
All right, Chris. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, as you can see there, the police obviously don't give a shit when something happens to him. But as you can see here, at the end of it here, they march him off, and he is detained, he is arrested, and he is fined, I believe, $807 fine.
I don't think I can, in good conscience, yield to this act of authoritarianism when it's based on lies, and I'm not comfortable moving.
You're not going to comply with that?
No.
No? Okay, alright. So,
I'm going to head that way then. I'm going to use reasonable force, whether I need it for hands or not. We're going
Alright.
to walk down that way.
Can I carry my phone with me?
That'd be great. Carry your own phone? Great. If
Alright.
I don't have to touch your things, then that works.
I'm being arrested.
Now, I don't know about you, but police officers wearing shorts and riding push bikes would be very embarrassing to be arrested by. I'd at least want to get pepper sprayed, tased, or maybe even shot if I was going to be taken down by short-wearing police on push bikes. But you can see from that little altercation he had with the curly-haired individual that likes to get pegged by his boyfriend, that they don't care when the violence or the accosting happens from that other side. These Brisbane police probably have very little to do with anything to do with woke culture or the political right or the political left, but they know well enough, whether they've been told to or not by their superiors, but maybe just what they've seen online, that if they bend to the right and they, uphold the law the way, they don't have to do anything, illegal or, out of sorts. They actually just have to do what they're told to do. If they do it and might possibly lean right, they know that their jobs are at risk. They know that their families are at risk. They could be threatened if they, did something that might be against, especially pro-Palestine movement at the moment, or democratic movement, we're in fucking Australia, rural Australia. Like, Brisbane isn't rural, but compared to the US, it fucking is. It's these police know in the back of their head, whether they believe in it or not, they know that if they do something against the wishes of the left, they are most likely to be cancelled, fired, accosted, hacked, have their Facebook profile hacked, or maybe even have all their information leaked out to the public. We've seen it happen time and time again. But if they just bend that little bit to the left ideology, they'll be left alone. Until they come after them, until the defund the police starts here in Australia again. And, we had that share during the George Floyd riots over in the US, but, Australia's far removed from that. But apparently not, because we had a whole bunch of woke leftists pretending that they were George Floyd, and they know a George Floyd, and George Floyd happened here in Australia, even though 90% of people don't even know where it happened or who it happened to or anything like that, and they don't even know that he was a fentanyl addict and that the police officer and him knew each other, and all those kind of little tidbits of information that might be useful in forming a thoroughly thought through opinion. But no, here in Australia, we just like to grab things with a headline title and carry on with it. That's why I'm here. That's what I'm doing here with this story. But we'll have a look at Rebel News' look on this take anyway. Canadian activist Billboard Chris forcibly removed on in Brisbane. Chris Ilston has been released without charge after being confronted by police for having conversations amid his free speech battle in Australia. It's kind of poetic that he's over here to battle the Australian government against freedom of speech, and he's fucking Canadian. He's not even Australian. He is fighting for our freedom of speech on our behalf, and he's not even an Australian citizen. Canadian activist Chris Elston, widely known as Billboard Chris, has been forcibly removed by police in Brisbane after initially suspecting he may have been arrested. You can see RVM commenting there. Elston, who has gained international attention for his opposition to woke transgender ideology, posted 2 videos online shortly before his claimed arrest, both without audio, suggesting technical issues. Yeah, it was a bit of a live stream. That's probably it there. Live stream that just kind of failed there. It's not surprising. We have shit cell phone reception here in Australia. He then tweeted, "I'm being arrested for having conversations in Brisbane," alerting his over 400,000 followers on X and on to the unfolding situation. The incident occurred while Elston was in Queensland capital talking to police on the streets. Video posted shared earlier showed police engaging with him and captioned, "Looks like I'm getting arrested in Brisbane," following another indicating officers were debating whether to detain him. The lack of audio left viewers unable to discern the exact nature of the exchange. Tesla owner Elon Musk took to X to support Elston, asking, "Are you okay?" in the reply post to the incident. Now that's a bit of backup there coming from Elon. That's pretty, that pretty much bolster your confidence there. Elston later posted a full video of the interaction with authorities, showing the confrontation, which led to officers moving him on from the mall area where he was talking to passers-by. Elston currently in Australia to pursue high-profile legal challenge against the nation's e-safety commissioner, Julie Inman-Grant. That's the one. She's the information czar over what he claims is government censorship of his free speech, and it fucking is. His case is set for the hearing in Melbourne's March 31st, stems from a social media post in which he criticised the appointment of controversial transgender activist Teddy Cook, the World Health Organization panel, calling Cook a woman, a statement that has led to his post being geo-blocked here in Australia. Now, I don't know what's going to happen to this video, but the woman in question is into bestiality and all sorts of other kinks. There, just sparked my memory there. So him just, I don't know, what do we call it? Dead naming or misgendering. Had the world, had the E-Safety Commissioner come down on him, and as you can see, I don't think it's going to go too well for the E-Safety Commissioner. The Brisbane arrest fueled speculation that it may be tied to his activism and legal battle. I would guarantee it is exactly that. Elston's ex-profile highlights his missions to protect children from harmful gender ideology while wearing a sandwich board with messages like children cannot consent to puberty blockers during public engagements. His presence in Australia includes plans to speak at events in Brisbane, Sydney and Canberra for Melbourne trial. Rebel News contacted Queensland Police to confirm the details of the incident following his initial claims on X. Police have not responded or issued a statement at the time of publishing. I am not surprised they will not talk to anyone from Rebel News. I mean, they are probably number one on the shit list, and Chris being number two. Now, as you see, the Bulldogs in question harassing him there, and their little backup dancers here. It just goes to show you that freedom of speech here in Australia is dead. Whether it existed or not in the first place, we will see. We do need politicians. We need people like Malcolm Roberts, Pauline Hanson. I'm not going to mention Clive Palmer because I don't honestly trust him. Having met the man once, I don't have a very good opinion of the man. But other than that, we need pushback on these government departments like the Queensland Police. Well, at the moment, we are looks like we are trying to ban large caliber firearms here in Australia unlawfully. In Queensland, sorry. They've already done that over in WA and reduced the magazine size and taken guns off of people, all sorts of things. But it looks like we're going the same way as the UK here in Australia, albeit a little slower, but people have been arrested for things they post online. Things that I'm not talking about threats or acts of violence or anything like that. They've been posted by things like they're going to a protest, things like that. And they've been arrested for stuff like that during COVID especially. Now, we've been banning people coming from Australia. I think it was Candace Owens was the latest one. I mean, I don't agree with a lot of shit Candace Owens says, but I don't think that we should be banning people coming to Australia, especially... I'm sorry, just going to put it out there, especially when we let machete-wielding youths from Somalia come in here and hack up people and rape old women, but we don't ban them because they say the right things. They don't post right-wing things online. We just let them come in and do it, and then we slap them on the wrist when they do it. But no, we'll ban someone for saying that the Jews have a space laser or whatever Candace is going on about these days. I don't know. Her and Kanye have kind of lost the plot. She has some great videos, she has some great points and some pretty shit ones. But, I really don't care about the whole Jew-Palestine issue. It does not affect us here in Australia, and I think people who keep pushing it for their own agenda. But, on the other hand, things that do affect us here in Australia are freedom of speech. People like... I just went and saw him the other week. Ronnie Radke from Falling in Reverse, very good heavy metal band, and a very controversial figure on Twitter and TikTok and things like that. If you don't know who he is, maybe you should look him up and listen to some of his music. Very good. One of the best live performances. Saw him in Brisbane just last week. One of the best live performances I've seen from any act. It was very good, very funny. And shout out to Black Veil Brides and Hollywood Undead who supported him there. Those guys were fantastic as well. That, he's having some legal trouble with some wankers and politicians in Tasmania. So Tasmania is a small little island off the south coast of Australia, in between us and Antarctica. If we just chiseled off Victoria and Tasmania, walled them off, maybe sent them out into the middle of the ocean and bombed the absolute fuck out of them until all the inbred people from Tasmania, sorry anyone in Tasmania is watching, and the retarded leftist communist pigs in Victoria, sorry anyone in Victoria watching that isn't aligned with that, you guys, you can leave anytime you want. Maybe Australia might become a country once again where we're proud to call ourselves Australian, but this leftist communistic talk that keeps coming out of those two states is fucking astounding. Canberra's not even the worst of it. Canberra's our capital city, and it's not even the worst of it. It's Victoria, Melbourne, the most lockdown city in the world under Daniel Andrews during COVID. Victoria they've banned four-wheel driving. They've banned anyone going out into the scrub. They've banned people using a chainsaw in the bush, including people clearing fire trails for bushfire season. So Victoria's pretty much fucking done and dusted. We don't need Victoria. We can chisel them off and push them out to the sea. They can hang out with Tasmania and all the inbreeding and degeneracy that goes on over there. I don't know if you recall from a couple of years ago, but there was a trout fishing video from some Tasmanian woman that went viral, and I don't know, it's like 2 girls, 1 cup kind of thing, but with a trout. That's Tasmania, and the head of Tasmania, we'll just call it Jackie Lambie. I don't know if you've ever seen a video of this woman, but anything to do with Tasmania, nah. It's a pity. It's a beautiful place, beautiful country, beautiful wildlife, but Jackie Lambie and Trout Woman have maybe it's the same person, have really, really done that whole state in. But we'll leave them to it. What do you guys think about this? Do you think this is just a media stunt gone awry for the Queensland Police? Because I bet they come in here swinging cod, thought that they were going to be the best in the blue, and thought they were going to really show Chris what was for. But I think this may have been preordained by the Australian government here, knowing where he was and what he was doing at all times, and out to make him look bad, which I think you might have done the exact opposite there. But what do you guys think? Do you think that our rights here in Australia need to be written down into like a Bill of Rights, so we do have a constitution, so that we do have something that is actually physical, not just a conspiracy theory and ignored by the courts and ignored by the police and ignored by the government? I mean, it might as well be written on a piece of toilet paper at the moment, but we do need our freedom of speech enshrined into our law. We need it. It's more than ever. What do you guys think anyway? We'll see how this story unfolds with Chris. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Don't forget to follow me on X, Twitter, whatever we're calling it these days. YouTube, Facebook, you name it, Instagram. I'm on everything. GETTR, Truth Social even. And follow me on all those platforms. Like the video and leave a comment down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.